Hey everybody, it's Monday, so it's Monday Marriage Moment. We took a break last week because we had the kids and the grandkid here celebrating birthday, and then next week is Memorial Day Monday, so we probably won't have one. In the meantime, we have found a new book to start talking about. Just want to remind you that we are not marriage counselors, we're not marriage experts. We just want to invest in our marriage, and we want to invest in yours. We want it to be as good as it can be. And so, from our favorite marriage authors, Doctors Les and Leslie Parrott, this is a brand new book called Your Time Starved Marriage: How to Stay Connected at the Speed of Life. And I remember being a young man a long, long time ago, and the old guys telling me, you're going to blink your eyes and your kids are going to be gone. You'll blink your eyes, and the next thing you know, you're going to have grandkids. You're going to blink your eyes, and the next thing you know, life's almost over. And I used to think, whatever. I got all the time in the world. And now I'm one of those old guys telling the young couples, you better maximize your time because you're going to blink your eyes, and your kids are going to be gone. You're going to be a grandparent before you know it. It goes so fast.
Yeah.
And so managing time is one of the most important skills just as a human being, but specifically for marriage. And so that's what this book talks about, and how to live out your marriage now, not preparing for it someday in the future. So let's talk a little bit about time and what it means and why it's so important, and just kind of get into this book.
Okay. So the authors said at the beginning that when they realized how important time was to their marriage, and because of their busy schedules, they were doing marriage retreats and writing books and doing conferences, and realized that they really had to prioritize their marriage or there were going to be some problems ahead. And so they started looking for resources, looking for books. There was literally no book that had been written about time. There were plenty on money for marriages and couples, and plenty on sex, and nothing on time. And they feel like it's one of the most important things for a marriage, because it kind of defines who we are, how we spend our time, and it shows what we value most. And so it's really important when we really think about what we do with our time.
Right.
And one of the things that they state at the beginning, and I think this is true, it's the one thing we have that is non-renewable.
Right. Every day a certain amount of minutes are deposited in your account. I think it's like 1,500 minutes. And you spend those that day, and then you don't get to save them. They don't renew. You just get a brand new set tomorrow if you make it to tomorrow.
Right. And you don't know.
And you don't know. None of us know that.
Yeah. So they talk about how important it is, and it's kind of it's obvious that our time is really important, and of course it's important in our marriage. I think there are seasons in our marriage when we may have a little more time to give. For us, it's empty nest, and I can see that we do have more time that we can spend if we choose. Than when the kids were so busy and at home and doing all their stuff, that we had to give a lot of time, and we really had to prioritize for each other to have time. If we had made the mistake back then when it was really busy to say, we're going to be able to do lots of things for our marriage when the kids are grown.
We'll wait till they're grown and gone and then start investing.
Yeah.
Huge mistake.
That would have been a really big mistake.
One of the huge mistakes I see a lot of couples make is they invest more time in their kids' activities than they do in their marriage. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with investing time in your kids' activities. You have to drive them places. They have to be involved in stuff. I get that. However, when you sacrifice time specifically for your marriage, for a child's activities, you have elevated something above your marriage that does not need to be elevated above your marriage, and you're ultimately going to pay a price for it.
Yeah.
And so you have to work really hard to schedule marriage time.
Yeah, and I think that's a key, is that you have to be intentional.
Yep.
Just like everything else we've talked about, you have to be intentional. If you're not, you're just automatically going to start doing things that you don't even mean to do. Maybe you didn't intend for it to be more valuable than your own marriage.
Right.
And then you wake up and find yourself hurting
Right.
in your marriage because you didn't make that a priority.
Yeah. So part of the struggle to understand and to manage time is understanding what it is, and there's two myths that they talk about. Two myths about time. What are they?
Yeah, so the first myth was that time can be stopped.
Okay.
And it gave an example, and this helps you understand it, it did for me, of a group of Marines that had been deployed, and they were gone, it was for quite some time, and so they were headed back home, and these authors were asked to come and speak to them at Camp Pendleton before they were headed back home, and they told them to realize time did not stop when they left, and when they come back, they're just going to pick right back up. Their spouse hasn't changed, they haven't changed. They said, you have changed because of what you've been through. Your spouse has changed because of, taking care of everything while you were gone. Things are going to be different, and to walk in with understanding that it's going to be different, that time was not frozen, because time can't freeze.
So time can't stop, and so if you kind of have that mindset that, well, we don't have a lot of time right now to invest in our marriage, so we'll push pause on that and take care of all these other busy things in life, and then we'll catch up later, we'll push play later. It does not
It doesn't work like that. Yeah. So I think it's important to just speak that and understand that and realize it can't be stopped. So that's really important. The other myth was that time can be saved up.
Okay? You can save your money,
Yeah.
but you cannot save your time. It runs out. There's
Right.
nothing you can do to stop it. The
Yeah.
clock is always running, and you have today.
Yeah.
You might not have tomorrow.
And they gave an example of that as thinking that I don't have to feed my body every day and I don't have to sleep every night to keep myself healthy, that I can save it up and I can get it all done on the weekend.
No.
I can't do that, and I can't be healthy doing that. I can't actually survive like that. And it's the same for our marriage. If we don't pump in some time and prioritize some time and have value to that daily, not just saving up like we're going to do it later when we have time, we
Like,
think.
we're going on vacation in August, so we're going to be busy till August. Maybe we'll talk, maybe we won't, maybe we'll see each other, maybe we won't, but we're going to make up for it in August.
Yeah,
It is not how
it's
it
not
works.
going to work like
You
that.
can't bank it in the future.
Yeah,
Really, what we're talking about is making sure your marriage is good in the moment, investing in your marriage now, and not letting the busyness of life derail your marriage. And it will. It absolutely will.
yeah. So something fun that they mentioned at the end of the chapter that we read was that they wrote this little book called The Love List. And they were talking about just to keep your marriage healthy and to nourish your relationship of your marriage, every couple needs to do 2 things every day, 2 things every week, 2 things every month, and 2 things every year. And so they gave the 2 things every day, and one of them was to find something that you both think is funny and laugh together. I think that would be just to start right there. That was the only one they talked about so far, and we're going to look those up and find them and share them. But I think when I think about our marriage, if we were intentional to do something like that, just to invest in our time together, of finding something funny and laughing together, that would, I think it brings another connection to us. And so that was just a fun thing that might give everybody something to do. And then we talked about how this relates just for us. And I was thinking while I was reading this chapter that several years ago, I realized that no matter what you were doing, no matter how busy you were, where you were, what was going on, if I texted or called you or emailed, you answered me back immediately. And I knew that you had decided that I was so valuable in your life. I was the one person that no matter what you're doing, you'll stop and answer and take my call.
Yeah, I give interruption power to very few people. So if I'm in a meeting or if I'm talking with somebody, if I'm just doing anything and my phone buzzes, and if it's a call or a text from almost anybody and I'm talking with somebody else, I'm going to wait to talk to them.
Yeah.
But if it's you, I will pause right there and say, I'm sorry, I'm taking this call.
Yeah.
That's just a practical way that we have devoted time to each other.
I kind of took your lead on that, and I do the same thing.
Right.
And it shows how much we value each other. That was a huge, even a small thing, but a huge deal to me.
Right. What's this last quote you wanted to talk about?
Oh, yeah.
I love this.
Yeah. He quotes that some people spend their entire lives indefinitely preparing to live. Which, when
Someday
you
we're
think
gonna
about
live.
that,
Someday we're going to have
yeah.
it. Jesus in John 10:10 said that he came that we could have life. And he wasn't talking about life in the future. He was talking about life now. A full life now. Not one day off in the sweet by and by, and not when you're old and not when you're empty nesters, but a full life now. And so that means managing your time well, making sure you got it taken care of. One of the things I used to do personally, just at work, about once a year, was track the day for a week. I would take a week and I would track how many hours am I spending doing such and such, whether it's studying or counseling or going and visiting somebody. How many hours do I spend at work? I think that would be a good exercise if your marriage is being bombarded with busyness, is just to take a week and just write down the times and how much time you're investing in your marriage. So if you watch this whole video, you could write down, I spent 12 minutes or however long it is on Monday investing in my marriage. And if you can, when you look back on how you spend your time, it helps you to evaluate and then improve and then figure out what's a better way or what's the best way to spend my time.
Yeah. I think a long time ago, just because of being in ministry, we had to learn a hard lesson of being able to say no to good things
Yep.
because it was going to be too much for our family.
Yep.
We were going to suffer, or our marriage was going to suffer, and it was too important because it's our most valuable resource, our most valuable possession. We choose to say no, and now it's just become automatic. I just automatically think if there's a big decision to be made and some big opportunity comes up, if our marriage is going to suffer, if it's going to hurt our family in any way,
The
I'm
answer is
okay
no.
with saying no.
Yeah, no is one of the most powerful weapons you have in managing your time,
Yeah.
for sure. Well, we're going to dig in deeper. That first chapter, those first two chapters are really just kind of introductory, and it does appear that the book gets very much more practical into I would say protecting your marriage from busyness. It'll sneak up on you and slaughter you. So thanks for taking the time to join us. We'd love it if you would comment, if you would like, if you would subscribe to this channel. Really does help us out. But in the meantime, thank you for watching. We'll see you in 2 weeks with your time-starved marriage. Bye.